In this video, I'll be showing you guys how to use functions, how to declare functions, how to create functions, and how to call functions. So functions are just group of statements that do a certain task. Okay, that's just it, and there's nothing more to it. So they just do a specific task, and functions are created out of the int main. So as you can see that int main itself is a function, but then it's the main function of your code. So if you want to create other functions, they have to be created outside the int main. Okay, I hope you get that. So when creating a function, you first start by the return type. So depending on what your function will be returning, and if you still tricked by functions returning something, don't worry about that. You'll get it later. It's just simple and straightforward. But then you start by declaring the return type of the function. So in this case, our function will be returning an integer. And then you follow by the name of the integer. I mean, the name of the function. In our case, the name of our function is sum. Okay. And then after that, you put the normal braces, which whereby inside them you'd have the parameter list. The parameter list is more like the what can I say? Or it's more like the variables that your array, I mean your function will be using. Okay, cool. And then after that, you have the body of your function, which is the curly braces here. So inside the curly braces, it's what you say your function will be doing, or this is basically what your function does. Okay, cool. So let's just create a function that will take two inputs from the user and then sum them and then give you the output. So in the parameter list, you first declare the variable type. So we'll be using x, which is an integer, and also we'll be using y, which is also an integer. So now we have two integers. This is what you do in your parameter list. So these are the two parameters that we are using, and you should also specify their return type. As you see, I said int, and then I put the variable, and then I said int again, and then I put the variable. So as I said, the function will be summing two variables. So I can use the x and y. So I'll have to initialize another term inside here, and I'll call it z. And z will be equals to x plus y. You get it? I initialized and also declared within the same line. So z is equals to x plus y. And then let me just return z. Let me just return z. So this is the function and it's done. It does whatever that it's supposed to do. It takes two values, which is x and y, and then add them, equate the sum of them to z, and then return z. So how you call a function, you strictly just say the name of that function, and then put the two parameters. Obviously, as I said, you want to add two values. Let's just say you want to add a 5. Sorry, let's say you want to add a 5, comma, and a 7. That's how you call the function. So the function has been called, but then since we only returned the z, it means that here we have to see out because we want to print out that to the screen. Okay, let's run the code and see if it will be able to add these two values, the 7 and the 5. If you don't understand anything for now, or I'm a bit fast, I'll just start over again, explaining everything so that you understand everything. Okay, fine. As you can see that our output is 12, meaning that our sum function worked the way it was supposed to work. Okay, cool. Let me start from the beginning. Fine. When you're creating a function, your function has to be outside the int main. which is your main function. It has to be outside your int main. So you start by, when creating a function, you start by the return type of the function, followed by the name of the function, and then followed by the parameters or the parameter list of your function. Okay, fine. And then in the curly braces, that's where you say what your function does to the parameters that you have here on your parameter list. Okay, cool. As I said, that our function in this case is a summing function, meaning that it adds two values. Okay, fine. So this is what it does. I'm initializing and declaring the integer z here, and I'm equating it to the x plus y, which are my parameter, which are my variables which are in the parameter list. Hopefully you understand that. So I'm basically adding the two variables which are in my parameter list and then returning the z. So when you're calling the function now, you simply just write the sum, which is your name of your function, and then put the curly braces. So since you have the two variables in your parameter list, you have to also put the two values for your two variables in your parameter list. But in this case, you're just putting those values. There's no need for you to also declare those values again. So it knows that as soon as you're opening these parentheses here, it knows that it's expecting two values, which is int x and int y. It's expecting an integer x and it's expecting an integer y, which it will sum. And the summing, it happens here inside the function. Okay, so as soon as you write sum, it's expecting an integer here, which is x, and an integer here, which is y. As soon as it gets those two values, it jumps here and says, okay, fine, what do I do with these values now that I have them? It has the 5 here instead of on the x, and then it has the y equated to 7. So it takes those two values and adds them and then equates them to the z. And also that is also an integer. And then it returns the z. Our z is an integer. Earlier I spoke of the return type. So our z is an integer. I declared it here, and that's why I'm returning the z. Because, okay, fine, wait. Our return type is an integer, and therefore our z is an integer. Therefore, our function is very happy because it's returning its return type, which is supposed to be an integer. Okay, fine. So that is how you just work with functions. You can also see out here on the function so that exactly when you call the function, there's no need for you to write the cout here in the main. Let me just do that. Let me just do that for you so that you understand. But in order for me to do that, I have to create a function that has no return type. Okay, so a function that has no return type is a void. So you can put wherever you're supposed to put your return type. Instead of the return type, just put the void. So you won't be using this return statement. Instead, you'll be using cout z. So when you call your function, it will just cout z. You get it? And z is equals to x plus y. And your x and y, you have them here. You inserted them when you were creating the function. So as soon as you put the 5 here, your function equates x to your 5. It equates this integer x here, that is here, to your 5. And then as soon as you put the 7 here, it equates the y here to your 7. So that now it knows, okay, fine, I have my integer, which is a z, and it is equal to the x, which is my 5, and the y, which is my 7. Then what do I do with those? I just cout z, which is the sum of the two numbers which are here in my parameter list. So hopefully I'm clear enough on that. I had to emphasize it because for me, it was a bit hard to understand everything. So let me just run this code or program and see if we get the desired output again. Okay, as you can see that now we have our 12 and there was no need for us to say cout in our main function because the cout was already in our sum function. So when you're calling the function, you just say, you write the name of the function, put the two parameters that you'll be using. It could be two, it could be more than two, it could be, I don't know, it could be even one. There could be no parameter. That also is possible. So that's it for functions. In my videos, I'll start doing problems, multiple or many problems that are regarding functions and arrays, obviously, and everything, loops from now on. Think now you have, if you have watched all my videos, you'll be able to go through the problems and understand them, because these are the main basics that you need in order for you to start coding in C++. Those are just the basics, and the rest you can learn at a later stage. You can also, yeah, because C++ is a very useful and easy language, but it also has many things. So you also have, what do you call these things? Like there's a lot, I don't want to lie, there's a lot. There are also pointers, but you can do without them for now. You can enjoy coding without getting to know what pointers are. But then, yeah, so that you can just start enjoying and actually put what you know for now into practice. That's why I'll start doing examples and more examples, like several examples on on just normal problems so that you can get to exercise what you know so far before we move on. Okay, thank you for watching. If this video was useful to you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd also like to get more content like this. And again, thank you for watching.